one more minute?
Sure.
First, I don't know what politics is, but I'd like to point out what's optimal. Our line is going to use the parkway. I can guarantee it because no one can stop that parkway. A place for a hub loop, we should have this streetcar running along Sheridan between Classen and Bass Pro and double track it. This streetcar here is 28 million a mile for single track. That's a lot of money. If you double track, you could share electrics and everything. Have another hub, have 3 hubs, one on each side and then one down by your parking lot. That's what I would recommend. Also, we need rail loops on either side of the city in our system, one over by the jail in Borden and one over by the Flatiron, to clear traffic that's going to stay in one half of town, clear it before it has to go all the way down.
Is this freight traffic you're referring to?
No, it would be what we call MetNet, dark-like system.
Okay.
A system like dark.
Perfect.
Thank you for letting me get that out.
Sure.
That concept. I appreciate that.
All right. I'm really struggling to see why high-speed rail would go against the experience in every other country and not routing, take advantage of the whole mode of transport and not routing to the heart of downtown. You seem to indicate that you prefer high-speed rail going through to the more northern alignment now. I don't want to set you up in some kind of argument with David here, but I would be very much interested in your professional views on that.
Not quite sure I understood your statement.
Mark, you're saying that you think, and I'm putting words in your mouth so I make sure I understand. You think that we have a preference that high-speed rail go through downtown, that northern route?
That's correct.
Okay. I'm not sure that's true, Mark. Well, I'm sure that's not true. Let me rephrase it. I don't think we have a preference. I think what we want to do is make sure that the hub can touch either one of those. If we don't know which way it's going, we want to make sure the hub works with either one of them.
Okay, just off the record, whatever you want to call it, what would your opinion be on how an experience of how high-speed rails work in other cities and countries?
I think you can look at several different models. If you go to Europe, that has worked with high-speed rail for a long time, some of those stations are designed more as airports, where it's a regional draw. You might have 6,000 parking spaces. For that reason, they're located outside the city. Other locations, they've integrated it into an urban environment by using existing rail corridor in existing facilities, which you have here. So we feel like we can accommodate high-speed rail, bringing it through downtown using that existing corridor. We just then have to find a way to get it on to Tulsa. The short way to get to Tulsa is right here. It bypasses downtown, which may or may not be a good idea. Part of it depends on, do we want to stick 5,000 parking spaces downtown to accommodate high-speed rail if that's the program? And that's the next step. What is the requirement going to be?
I think you're confusing on that. I mean, Little Europe might be a possible example where you build something further away from the original station.
Right.
But for the most part, you're referring to city centre to city centre.
Yes.
The parkway stations you refer to tend to be on the outside of the city.
Correct.
And I'd also find it hard to believe that there wouldn't be a parkway station up by the turnpike. So it seems to me that the high-speed rail selection down the bottom is a very, very poor choice.
Well, I would agree that putting it in the city center is the place to do it. If we can get it there. On the other hand, if somebody says we don't want 5,000 parking spaces and that kind of traffic impact coming into downtown, we've got to consider that as well. So that's why we're keeping 2 options on the table.
Station, it could be on the edge of the city.
Well, you're only going to get one. Now, one thing you got to think about is high-speed rail. In order for it to be high-speed rail, you're only going to get a station about every 50, 100, 300 miles. It's city center to city center. You're not going to get a bunch of suburban stops in between. So we've got to work with ODOT on that as well. We're not going to get one here and one here. That won't happen. So that's a consideration.
And I think, Allan, and I think Mark, and I think we need to listen to what David said and what the senator said. Yeah. I mean, we can pick the best station, but the reality is what happens on down that line and how it happens on out that way may have more to do with where high-speed rail comes through Oklahoma City than anything. If there's huge environmental impacts, taking it up the north side and going out northwest Oklahoma, or through the Adventure District and all that, that may render that way through Oklahoma City null and void, and so all of a sudden the site's already selected for us. Again, I think the prudent thing for us to do is make sure that the hub talks to both of those locations as best as it can. And because we don't know the answer to that. We don't know which way they're going. We kind of feel that as it impacts the hub study, it's down here and it's up there, but there's a whole lot of row to hoe up there in figuring out which way high-speed rail is going to go through the rest of the state. And those decisions will impact the station location.
Let me just reiterate again what Allan said, if everybody didn't hear it. It's possible too that you could get off further north, even if it was a southerly route, and almost come through 8.
Right.
So that you look at the picture and it seems way down there to the picture, but that's also not the only alternative, right? If it's a southerly route. I think just keeping that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, we did rule out site 10. We kept site 8 in there, and while we haven't done the graphics yet, one alternative would be to bring high-speed rail up a little further and see if we can slip it through next to the boulevard and make that a station location as well. So we'll be advancing that. That's the reason we kept 8 on here. Let's see if we can get a little closer if it can't go into downtown. And Claire's been, 2 questions over here.
Just real quick, Yokohama is a city of 3 million people, and the central station in Yokohama, which has 4 major department stores and all of that, does not have a high-speed rail. It goes through Shin Yokohama, which is 5 miles away, and you just take the train out to Shin Yokohama and get on the high-speed rail. So it doesn't always happen right in the center. The other thing is on your sites 5 and 6, again on economic development, you just might throw this into the mix. The canal, if it's ever going to make a loop, and a lot of people think a lot of consideration has been taken to make a loop, would go right through your sites, logically 5 and 6 to the south. Now there's no a canal through a train station might be a really cool thing, but I mean it's just something we might want to throw into the mix as well.
Like I said, it could be another lane.
It's truly intermodal.
Sorry, Tom, do you have a question?
Yeah,
One here.
you had mentioned the airport. Is there a realm of possibility that the high-speed rail could connect it with Little Rockers and you had some sort of connector between the airport and the hub?
I don't think that would be high-speed rail. Mike, you might address this. Part of the system plan includes looking at connectivity to the airport with other modes.
I think Tom's question is more, what if the city-to-city high-speed rail connection is airport to airport?
It's been discussed.
And it's off the map. You don't have to worry about it. But, not to be funny.
I wasn't aware of that. You have all the infrastructure there. It's really, there's
All we can promise you all is that we're staying attuned to all of those discussions. We're not trying to solve that one. I think that's potentially has a lot of merit, but all we can do is try to stay attuned to where people are thinking about mass streetcar, about convention centers, and see how that informs our study. And do the best that we can do. And I think David's right. I think we're taking this opportunity when everything's kind of, seems like it's a tornado right now, and it kind of is for us. But hopefully we can calm those winds, kind of see where things are landing, and then make sure they're all connected. Whether it's a transit system that's all connected or a downtown. This hub will be as big a part of keeping downtown's momentum going as any other thing that we're doing. And so we're trying to make that system work as well as the transit system.
Let me move ahead.
Well, I think we're calling time out. So let me say one thing and you do one slide. Okay?
Go ahead.
First, I'd like to thank the Community Foundation for providing the room and setting it up for us. We did promise them that we would stick to a time frame. So Allan, I'd like to take us through the next steps and then adjourn the meeting, and Allan and I will move out, but we do want to respect their desire to stick to a schedule.
I think we've talked about the first 4 bullets. I won't read those to you. Things that will be ongoing as part of the process as we move ahead. What we're trying to get to, though, is based on those A, B, and C sites you just saw, is to test those, essentially do a test fit but what we're calling the Tier 2 sites, which would be those 3 as we move those forward, which will be based on the ridership model, further discussions with ODOT about high-speed rail, further discussions with Amtrak about what their needs are in the future, not just now, but in the future, looking at those other modes, how they all tie together, working with MAPS 3, streetcar plan, and so forth. And then we will come back and show you those 3 sites with a conceptual layout saying, we put it here, here's how it lays out, here's what works, here's what doesn't work, and we'll go through a ranking of those. And then final solution may not be A, B, or C. It may be, okay, it's part of C and part of B, and that's what we'll come back and ask for your input as to what really works the best as far as having a preferred site. The next step after that will be then further development of the architecture, if you will, of the facility itself in terms of how it really fits within the framework of the city, what the massing is, how it connects to other sites and so forth, as we start to wrap this up and then developing a cost estimate that can lead to an implementation plan. We also have a consultant on board that's going to be putting together a financial plan for this, so we'll be looking at funding sources based on what the cost of the facility is and how we might phase that over a period of years to pay for the facility.
Thank you all for being here on a cold January night. Keep it tuned. The streetcar is exciting. Things are happening exciting in Oklahoma City. Look at ACOG. I think you're setting up a website where these graphics will be there, so you can pull those down and look for our next meeting. Probably in the next 4 to 6 weeks, we'll be back in front of you talking a little more detail. Thanks for being here.
Jerry, how much time do we have before we have to clear the room? We can hang around.
We'll be fine. But yeah, let's give a big hand to our consultants. And again, I want to reiterate thanks for coming out on a cold winter night. If you want to stay informed, we have some contact information in the back. We have your email address. We'll put you on our listserv and provide you information as we get it. And then tomorrow morning, hopefully we'll have all this information available on our website. So the consultants will be around to have some discussion. And so have a great evening and drive safe. Thank you.